Hello students, so we will start the chapter number 5, that is the fundamental unit of life. Okay, it is there in 9th standard, so we will start a new biology chapter, that is the fundamental unit of life. What is the fundamental unit? Life, all the living things, they have the life, and what is the fundamental unit? It is a cell. So today we begin with studying the cell. Okay. Now the cell is a structural and functional unit of life. Why it is a structural and functional unit? Because our whole body is made up of what? Cell. Look at our body. It is made up of different organs. Some organs we can see from outside, and whereas some organs present within ourselves. So our whole body is made up of different organs, and all organs are made up of cells. So that is the structural unit, we can say. The body structure is made up of what? Cells. Here look at the skin. Skin is, we can say there is a skin, but basically what is there in the skin? Those are the cells. This is our mind inside of brain. Brain is made up of cells. Stomach, lungs, everything in our body, the basic structural unit is a cell. And functional unit, all different organs, they do different work. They function in certain different ways. So these are called the functional unit. All the cells are responsible for doing some work within them. The individual cell is performing some work. Okay, and those due to that, when all cells get together, they will make a tissue, and when all tissues come together, they will make particular organ. So who will work in that? Suppose our heart is doing some activity. Our legs are doing some activity. So during that activity, who actually is working behind them? Those are the cells. That's why it is called the functional unit of life. Now you understand why it is called the structural and functional unit of life. Structure basically made up of the cells, and whatever the living beings do function or they work, behind them, those are the cells who are doing some functions. That's why it is called the structural and functional unit of the life. Okay. Now we will move towards history or discovery. How the cells were discovered. So in the year of 1665, Robert Hooke had discovered the cell at the very first time, and he has given the name cell. So the cell name was given by who? That is by Robert Hooke. Robert Hooke was a scientist. He was continuing with his experiment in his laboratory, his own laboratory, and he has made his own microscope. He took a slice of wooden cork. Wooden cork, you know? What is wooden cork? Structure something like this, that we fix on some bottles and all. If you see the champagne bottle and all, on the top of that there is a wooden cork. Or some other medicines bottle also have got this kind of cork. So he had made some slice of that cork, wooden cork, and had observed in the microscope. While observing in the microscope, he was surprised by finding the structure in the microscope, and he started drawing that structure what he was watching in the microscope on the paper. And the structure was something like honeycomb structure, we can say. Something like he had given the name, this one, as a cellula, or we can say the cell. Why he has given such kind of name, cell? The cell is what? There are the kind of small rooms where the monks do their prayers and all. And those are called the cells at that time. And the cells which were there in the jails, when somebody got imprisonment, at that time king keep them into the cells. Those are the small rooms, and he had observed the structure, something like a small boxes inside the microscope. That is why he had given the name cells, and from there only the cells word is in existence till today. Okay, so whatever he had observed in the microscope, those cells were non-living cells, because the wooden cork was already non-living. So at that time he did not observe any other material present within the cell. Okay, so the word given cell by Robert Hooke. He was from Britain. Okay, after that another scientist came, that is Anton van Leeuwenhoek. He had observed some living cells. When he was performing certain experiment, he suddenly took a water from a pond. He find out that something is moving inside in that sample, and he again used the magnified lens and observed that those are the single cellular organisms. And he has find out that those are the kind of living cells. Okay, so the live cells who had observed first was Anton van Leeuwenhoek. Okay, in the 1674. The microscope which Anton van Leeuwenhoek used is the same kind of the microscope today we are seeing. The simple kind of light microscope. The Robert Brown, he had observed the nucleus for the first time. Then Purkinje came. Purkinje, in the year 1839, he had discovered the cytoplasm. See, our cell is made up of what? It has got one nucleus in that looks dense when you stain it. Okay, so it will get differentiated easily, the nucleus. So nucleus was already invented by the Robert Brown. Then this material surrounding the nucleus present inside the cell, that is called a cytoplasm. And the cytoplasm were given by the Purkinje. Okay, so this was all. Now we understand the discovery. First dead cell, then the live cells, then someone has invented nucleus, and at the last Purkinje, he had find out the cytoplasm or the cytoplasm were given by him. After that, at the same time, there were two scientists, a group of the scientists. One was a botanist, whereas the second one was the zoologist. Schleiden, the spelling is little complicated, but it's pronounced like Schleiden and Schwann. Schleiden and Schwann were the German scientists. They were working in the laboratory, and they have proposed a cell theory, and they have given 3 points. What were they? They state that the living things composed of one or many cells. That was the first proposal, first sentence they have given, that what? The living things, they are made up of one or many cells. The second proposal in the cell theory they have given, that is basic fundamental unit of the life is a cell. The function which are taking place inside the body is a cell. So the cell can do all the different functions, all the different activities. Okay, so that was the second thing. Third thing which they have stated, the third statement was something like the cells arise spontaneously. Spontaneously matlab अचानक से. Okay, if we are sitting here, the cells arise something like this from the environment, from the air. That was stated by this Sladen and Schwann. But after some year, in the year 1855, Rudolf Virchow did some correction in the cell theory. He stated that the new cells arise from the pre-existing cells. The cells which are already exist, they get divided and form a new cell. Or from the old cells, the new cell will get birth and new cells will come in the existence. That was this statement was given by Virchow. Okay, so he proved the third statement of Sladen and Schwann as a wrong sentence, and they have corrected the cell theory. So in this cell theory, there were three scientists involved: Sladen, Schwann and Virchow. Okay, so this was the discovery of the cell. Okay, now we'll move further towards the size and number of the cells. If we see any object or any living thing in the microscope, we can observe the same kind of cells. For that, if we take an onion peel, we already know the onion. If we peel it out every leaf, there is a thin layer present. This is called the epithelial layer, a white colored semi-transparent layer. If we peel off that layer and see in the microscope, we can observe the structure, the column, something like this in the microscope. State that regardless of size, all made up of cells, all the living things made up of cells. Say for an example, take one small onion and take one larger onion or the bigger one. If you see in the microscope, though they are the onions, whether they are small or the big one, they appear the same in the microscope. Organism can be either multicellular or unicellular. There are certain organisms, they are unicellular. There is just a single cell, it performs all the basic activity, all the necessary activities done by the single cell. That is why it is called the single cellular organism, unicellular organisms. Unicellular organism, likewise as we are, there are multiple cells present in our body. So we are called a multicellular organism. What activity we do? We take breathe in, breathe out, eat, take nutrition, excretion, all different things of activity we do. That is how the single cell, if the same single cell do all those activities, that is called the unicellular organisms. And what the unicellular organisms are? Example, amoeba that change the shape, amoeba, paramecium, euglena, certain bacteria and chlamydomonas. Those are the organisms which perform all those basic activity for the survival by the single cell. Those are the unicellular organisms. Are you getting? Okay. Another group is multicellular organisms, in which different cells, when with the help of group of cells, they make different organs, and with the help of different organs are responsible for doing or performing different sorts of activities. So in the multicellular organisms, different organs do different activities for the body functioning, and those are called the multicellular organisms. There are multiple cells present in their body. Okay. What are they? Like us, we are human being, animal, plants, those are the multicellular organisms. Now if we talk about the size or the shape of the cells, they can be different. In our body, what kinds of cells are present, and they do different sorts of activities. And that is the characteristics of living beings. What is the characteristic of living being? They perform specific type of activity. If they don't do any activity, then they are not called living objects. If they are living, they perform certain activity. That is the characteristic of living organism. Okay, so the living being, they perform certain activity, and the size or shape of the cell, that depends on what? That depends on the activity they perform. Okay, so in our body there are certain cells, just like our muscle cells. How the muscle cells looks like? These are the smooth muscle cells. Okay, muscle cells are present in our body. Then egg cells, they are also called the ovum. Then our blood has certain cells. Which are they? WBCs. WBC again are of different shapes. These are WBC, RBC, RBCs, then platelets. This is a platelet. Then sperm cells. This is a bone cell. Then nerve cells. Nerve cells are this is nerve cells. So depends on their functions, they are of different shapes. Different cells have different types of structures, and the structures are related with the what function they are doing in the body. Okay. Now we move toward how do living cells function. How does our body performs, or how does our body do different types of activity. For the functioning of the body, we have different organ inside. Stomach is what? It is related doing a digestion things. Intestine and stomach is related with the digestion. Lungs is doing the breathing, respiration process. Mouth is doing chewing and certain enzyme secretion. Arms, they are performing. These are our limbs, 4 limbs. Those doing certain activity, legs doing walking and all. So our body has different organs inside, and those organs are doing different kinds of activity. As our organ in our body involved in doing different activity, our cell has got certain things to perform different types of activity. Our cell has what? As our body have organ, our cells have organelles. Understand? Our whole body is made up of what? Different organs. And in the organ they have cells, and cells have got organelles present in them. And all organelles have different types of functions. So with the help of those organelles, they do different type of activity. Surrounding the cell, there is a presence of membrane. We can just say the cell membrane. And inside the cell membrane, the things which are present, those are called organelles. Hope you are clear till now. In the next session, we will discuss about cell membrane, cell wall and different organelles. Okay, thank you.